to the next episode of Bass with Bets. So guys, for this episode, I'm gonna walk through the major scale and the intervals that'll get us from one octave to the other. And in order to get through that, we're gonna need to know our whole steps and half steps, which we covered in our last video. So if you haven't seen those videos yet, you're gonna need to have a good understanding of that before we move on to these next episodes. If you're good, let's go ahead. Just like English is a language, so is music. Music is a language. And I remember we talked about letters being like the notes and words being like the scale. And this is how we put together sentences, musical sentences. So if we want to move through the scale, there's a certain number of intervals or spaces in between each note that we need to go through in order to get from one part of the scale to the octave up, which is 8 notes away. Okay? So in order to get through that movement, there's a combination of whole steps and half steps that put together get us through the major scale. In order to get from one C to the C an octave up in the major scale, we're gonna go through a series of intervals, and it's gonna be a pattern. And the pattern is this: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That's whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That refers to the interval in between these notes. So from C to D in the major scale is a whole step, right? That's the first interval, it's whole. The next interval is another whole. So we're gonna go from D to E, because E is a whole step above D. The next interval is half, a half step. So a half step up from E is F. The next step is a whole, so it's gonna go from F to G, that's a whole step up. A whole step up from G is A. So from G to A is a whole step. That's the next step in our interval. Then from A to B is a whole step. That's the third whole. And after that is a half step, which is from B to C. So again, whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C an octave up.